What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Progress Always. Mike Andrews here at Next Level HQ, and I'm on deck with one of our coaches, Joe Barnett. What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. First of all, thanks for taking the time and being here today. You know, you're. I look forward to all of these conversations. I was especially looking forward to this one just because of the. You got such an interesting and dynamic background that brought you to next level, and I'm just excited to for our audience to get to know you a little bit more and understand a little more in depth about your journey into coaching because I guess from my perspective to describe it as unconventional would be really underselling it.
So that's a good way to put it, though, or at least to start. And also, thank you for having me on here.
Yeah,
I guess
100.
where would you like to start?
Yeah, man. Well, shoot, give us the cliff notes, and then we'll dive down the rabbit hole. You're originally from the PNW, got a background in baseball, and you're currently working on your bachelor's at ASU in exercise and wellness. Um, is it purely an athletics uh, background that brought you into coaching and strength and conditioning, or where does the passion come from, man?
I think that me playing sports has something to do with it. I played baseball through my junior year of high school, took a little break, and then played a little bit in college. Uh, but during my sports career, I wasn't very into fitness. I was there just, showing up to practice, not really putting in the best effort. I had what you could say natural talent at throwing a baseball. Could be accurate. Couldn't really hit a baseball though. Then I found myself in sort of a dark period, and through that, to get myself out of that period, I started just going to the gym. And I would say the combination of sports with that helped led me to where I'm at today. Um, I have my parents have always pushed that I need to be educated, need to be going to school. And so once I moved down to Arizona, I decided to enroll into the local community college, put 2 years into there, then transferred to ASU to further the education because I found myself enjoying and loving learning a lot more after high school than I did during high school. And so one, that's probably just taking the classes that you're interested in, but I didn't, I guess I got to backtrack a little bit. So when I played college baseball, I only went for the sport. Mm-hmm. Wasn't interested in any classes, took a couple classes just to get through the year. And then came to Arizona, was here for about 2 years. And that's when I enrolled into PVCC. And then through the COVID year was making things happen. And eventually after that, now graduated there. So now we're at ASU.
Right on, man. And, I've talked about this with Alyssa, with Matt, with Joanna, with regards to our coaching development program at Next Level and kind of the gateway, the barrier to entry to get on our team. And part of one of the common themes for them, and I'm curious about you, was that it's not an everybody's invited concept, right? It's very much you got to earn your position on our team.
Yes.
How was that position for you, and what was the allure that kind of made you willing to go through that process?
Starting with the first training job that I had, I was thrown into the mix very quickly, had to move quick on my feet. I came to Next Level as a member originally just because I wanted to learn how to Olympic lift, and was noticing just the demeanor of all the coaches and just kind of how they held themselves. And then through the years, or not the years, but the months of attending classes, hearing just more of what was going on, then like I'd already had the thought of asking about becoming a coach or working on that process, however that was. And then stars aligned, found out that there were some things going on at the other job. That same week, Coach Sam at the time had made a recommendation. And so he planted that seed right at the right time. And then next thing you know, it was about a week later, we had that conversation. And it was just really seeing the leadership throughout. There was a different atmosphere at this gym than any other gym that I've been a part of. At a LA, at the 9 Rounds, Anytime Fitness, Planet Fitness. There's something special happening here, and I want to be a part of it.
Oh yeah, man. Well, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Where do you think your biggest evolution in the game has come so far?
It's a good question. Knowing that I'm trying to figure out the right way to word this, but in the beginning, looking back, it feels one-dimensional. Mm-hmm. The way that I was coaching people at that time, it was like I'd gotten to fitness in a certain way. And so I knew that there was not one shoe fits all, but I found myself getting in a very narrow or specific, like not specific, but the training just became very rudimentary, very repetitive. And then coming over into the more performance side of things, was able to take a step back and like, instead of always doing, low weight, high volume, now we can start adding a little bit more weight, working off percentages, using what I've learned and applying it to the coaching. Because where I was before, the setting just didn't allow me to apply it to anything. It was just very quick pace and heavy on the customer service.
Mm-hmm. Something jumps out at me, and I want to kind of explore this with you because you're knee deep in it right now. You have your feet in both ponds, the practical application and the scholastic education of strength and conditioning right now, and you're doing both of them simultaneously. What do you find in that dynamic? Is it synergistic? Is the practical application ahead of the academics? Is the academics reinforcing the practical application? What's your, now since you're for lack of a better term, you've got feet in both ponds right now at the same time. How is that dynamic working for you?
I would say it seems that the schooling or education is just slightly behind. Like a lot of stuff that I've been doing from PVCC and then now this last nutrition class in the first semester back at ASU was very repetitive on touching over the topics and things that we've learned, training philosophies, whether it's progressive overloading, sport specific training, but how people respond, like the general population responds to a lot of this strength and conditioning training isn't the same way or isn't the same as what a lot of I won't say all the professors, but like how it is explained in the classes. Mm-hmm. There's very little general population application, I guess you could say, that I've dealt with so far in the courses I've taken. So it's been very just broad scope on it, basically lined up with the NASM. So I haven't been in any of the CSCS classes yet. That is supposed to be coming in the fall. So I can't touch on specifically how that matches up.
Right.
But nothing prepares you for the way people will perceive exercise sometimes, like at times.
What do you mean?
I love it. I love to work out. I love to do hard things. People don't love that. You want to go for like a heavy set of back squats. I'm all for it, but the majority of people look at that and have a different perspective on it, and maybe they aren't so quick to jump under the bar. It's like that was something that wasn't so prepared for.
Yeah,
everyone that I was surrounded with, especially in classes, loved to work out, and so that was just always the energy. And like everyone at next level that I was experiencing loves to work out. So like that's why they're there. But every once in a while, you'll get, say we're doing snatches, and someone's like, I don't know how this works at my shoulder, and we have to come up with a modification or take a step back, just use a barbell or a training bar or PVC pipe, whatever it is, and just get them comfortable with the movement. And so that's something that I haven't seen a whole lot in the classes yet.
Is it surprise? Is it where's the, I guess the surprise for you? Is it the realization that as athletes, as coaches, as strength and conditioning professionals, we live in this echo chamber of like, oh, everybody's like us? Or is it really the realization that the general population isn't, by and large, fiending for that stimulus?
The latter option for sure.
Yeah.
I am in an echo chamber, but at the same time, we're in Phoenix. There's 4 million, 5 million people here. So that echo chamber is relatively small. And you look at the general population, most of them aren't fiending to get under a heavy bar. They want quick, simple, of course effective, but they want the quick and simple.
But when it's all said and done, if we can get people behind the lifestyle end of things, right? The long term, let's do this fitness thing forever mindset, then everything becomes possible, right? We can play with a lot of different stimulus. We can move through different phases and different cycles and points of emphasis and transfer of training. And, whether it's, getting ready for a bodybuilding competition and getting on stage, or simply preparing your system from a conditioning standpoint to just handle, like, we're in Arizona, the rim to rim to rim. We have a couple of members that are getting ready to do that over the course of the summer, right? When you look at fitness as a forever thing, as opposed to slimming down for the wedding or whatever that short-term goal is, the adherence goes up, right? And to your point about what's maybe not being touched on, or what you haven't heard yet in the classroom, what's kind of the, what are you getting in academics as far as the psychology of adherence? Are we there yet?
The last class that I took that would touch on that would have been the CHS Health Solutions class. And we didn't ever touch specifically on adherence, but we touched on different topics or different theories of change and how you could get people to change. It's like, or not necessarily get people to change, but how you can get people to understand where they're at, or whether they have a external locus of control, internal locus of control. So that was probably the closest that we've gotten to it.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing so much at ASU with like exercise adherence. That
Yeah.
was just over lifestyle, just overall like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, can we do 5,000 steps a day and drink
Mm-hmm.
60 ounces of water? And like, why is it that you don't like to drink water? And
Yeah.
just figuring out like the basics of that.
Mm-hmm. Where like the big sticking points for you when you start to engage in those conversations with people? What are you discovering about their lifestyle now compared to what needs to change or improve to bridge the gap to where they want to go?
Say, I usually start people off slow or start small. I don't try to jump in too heavy. So it depends. Every person can be a little bit different, but usually drinking water is
Mm-hmm.
the first step for someone. So before I even give them a training program, we do a
Mm-hmm.
week of drinking water and getting steps. So that way I can at
Yeah.
least see if they're going to be coachable and if they can communicate back and forth with me.
Yeah.
Um, with that, the biggest issue that I get is I don't have time.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like whether 6:15 is too early in the morning or
Mm-hmm.
7:30 is too late at night. The biggest issue is usually I don't have time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, no one has ever given me huge pushback on water. Biggest thing is I'm peeing a lot more. So I'm having
Yeah.
to use the bathroom a lot more. My bladder feels full.
Mm-hmm. How are you helping your people solve the time problem? Because
We will,
because we do this thing, right, and this is something that we resolve all the time, right? It's it's quite simply a essentially a lie or an excuse that people just give themselves because they've just succumbed to this regimen that kind of eliminates their own personal priorities from the equation, and where they've led themselves to believe that they don't have time. The reality is they've canceled themselves out, and the rub is actually, how do I get myself back in, right?
yes.
Because if it's not work and it's not family and it's not the girlfriend or the boyfriend or whatever, like where do I fit in my own life,
So you got to make
right?
yourself a priority again.
So how are you helping people do that?
This is probably the biggest struggle that I have is getting
Mm-hmm.
someone to do a time audit.
Okay.
But basically take a piece of paper and then throughout the day, every hour, look back on that hour, write down what you've done. Whether that's I spent 15 minutes on my phone, I was doing an hour of work, 10 minutes walking the dog, whatever it is, write it down. That way you can look back at your day and say, oh, from 10:30 to 11:30, I was walking the dog, did some dishes, but I still had 15 minutes. And then at the end of the day, you can accumulate all those open spaces and figure out where you can shuffle things around to create an hour, 2 hours, whatever it may be. Maybe you only get 45 minutes at the end of the day, but we can create time for you to help you, I like to say, recharge. So that way you can
Mm-hmm.
go back to refill your cup and go back the next day or the next week.
Yeah. When people realize how much time they actually have and or how much time they actually waste in any given day, do you get any resistance? Like they're baffled, they're uh when you kill that excuse, what's the next step? Because once you acknowledge that truth, right, like some kind of action has to take place. So what's the mechanism that you help them install once they're able to look at their objective reality, and all of a sudden that myth that they didn't have time goes away?
Depends on what client I'm working with. I actually have a client that's trying to train for rim to rim right now at the same time as Mike. So she's been someone that's been struggling with the time, and she's training a lot. And when she realized she had more time, because she was spending a lot of time on her phone in between meetings or after she got off work, because she was work from home. So like the home is the office and the office is the home. So like there's no separation. She realized that she was spending almost about 45 minutes to an hour after work that she could have been at the gym or just getting herself prepared for the morning to do an early morning hike instead of work is so long, I'm exhausted by the end of the day. Now I can't get my hike in or I can't go to the gym. And so basically just helping her realize where that time is. I can fit in, oh, we need to spend a certain amount of time in a higher heart rate. So let's get this 30 minutes in at this time. We can figure out weightlifting later and shuffle things around because that's not so important right now. We just got to focus on what is the overall goal of what you're trying to accomplish. And right now, lifting weights will help you get through a hike, but you also have to be able to put yourself through the rim to rim setting. It's like being on the mountain or being in a mountain is going to be more helpful.
And how's that implementation going?
We're on very first week of month 2. So so far so good. She just hit her first big like exhaustion or like a bit of overtraining, which I was telling her to prepare for. Like it's going to happen with how much you're doing or trying. Like she wants to do a lot, so I have to actively try to pull her back a little bit.
Yeah, so, when you get somebody like that who has this, rim to rim requires a certain kind of training stimulus to do well, right? And if you're coming into that from, well, we've been also hitting the weights 3 times a week, right? It's been my experience that a lot of people that try to shift those gears want to keep what was old and include what's new and required. How do you do that dance and help them like, well, we're gonna have to give this up for a little while so that we can do this other thing really, really well and create the most positive experience possible? Because it sounds like the undertone of what you're describing is she wants to continue to do it all as opposed to just focusing on the task at hand. Is that?
I would say this is her first, you could say, come to Jesus moment where she's realizing on her own this is a lot of stuff to be doing. And like I've encouraged her that maybe we only should train once, twice a week in the gym and then get outside the rest of the times. But right now she wants to be doing 3 times in the gym, 2 hikes a week. And the hikes are almost double-digit miles. So she's putting in 20-something miles hiking a week, then trying to train on top of that, plus working her job, doing all the things that she's doing. So like this last weekend was the first time she's reached out and be like, hey, I'm exhausted. Let her know, like, hey, if you need to take 2, 3, 4 days off from the gym, just make sure that you go outside on day 3, get about a 20, 30-minute walk in. But for the most part, back off a little bit because your body's telling you to. So this has been the first let her figure it out on her own. Because I've tried to do I've tried to tell her that she's doing too much and she doesn't necessarily take it hard, but she doesn't really get why she should be doing less than what she's already done. She's like, well, I was doing 4 sets of 15. Why'd you reduce the reps? Like, this isn't the training volume you're trying to accumulate right now. Focus on this, get that 45, 60-minute leg session in, but when it's done, it's done. Call it, get yourself out of the gym.
Do you have fun? Is that part of the game fun for you? The re-education of your clients, or is that I feel like it goes one of 2 ways for us. We either really, really enjoy pouring that education on, or it's like the bane of our existence, and I wish you would just listen to what the fuck I tell you. What's that experience like for you?
Combination of both. I love talking, but like if I
Yeah.
feel like I'm talking to a wall, then I'm going to start to
Mhm.
get a little bit irritated.
Yeah.
But I think I do a good job of not letting that show. It's like I
Mhm.
just keep repeating things, and just sound like a broken record player until someone
Yeah.
just says, "Hey, shut up."
But I think that that's a really challenging skill to harness in coaching. In you know, I very jokingly tell people that I coach. Even last night in here, I was like, part of my job description is to save you from you, right? It, but also at the same time, there's a very fine line in the sand there where we allow our clients to overreach and not overtrain, right? And I think that there's a special place in um, coaching mastery where we allow our people to flirt with that line. Because to your point, we can tell them all these things till we're blue in the face, but there is so much more to be said for that experience, right? For example, if the extreme of aesthetics is doing a bodybuilding competition, right? I can tell you all day long what those phases are going to look like, all the way up to how you're going to feel on the day of the show, right? But me telling you and you actually feeling it, and in the worst case scenario, not sticking to the game plan and coming up short, right? Like there's no replacement, there's no substitute
Yeah.
for that experience, right? So for you, and I love this, I love this story because you know this is not abnormal for somebody to kind of adopt the school of thought that more or harder will is better, right?
I used to be there.
Yeah. So like, how are you navigating that now that she's in this place, she's experienced overreaching? What's that conversation like now? Because the very ignorant, naive coaches be like, "See, I fucking told you so," but the constructive criticism is, right, okay, now that you've experienced what I'm talking about, is she more receptive to your guidance?
That's where we still have to have this conversation. I haven't been able to get onto the phone. I got this text message this morning. It's like,
Okay.
yeah, I haven't been able to hop on to actually like pick apart her brain just yet.
Yeah, TBD, huh?
But yeah, it
What
sounds
what
like
what
for
do
the
you, what
most
do you, what
part,
do you think? How do you think it's going to go?
I think she's gonna. So based off of our prior conversation, she will come to a realization, play with it for about 2 to 3 weeks, test her waters again,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's going to be some sort of little mishap. Usually it's nothing big though. It's like I have 2 days where just like she just can't make it to the gym because she's overtrained,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think that she's receptive to the coaching.
Yeah. What are the variables you're manipulating right now? Did you literally take a day of the gym off the schedule, or did you keep that day and you're manipulating what you're doing with her in here?
So prior, she was doing 4 to 5 times a week in the gym,
Mm-hmm.
basically very traditional, just like legs, upper body,
Mm-hmm.
legs, and she was doing 3 legs to upper body.
Okay.
So and then loves to train with a high heart rate. Like
Mm-hmm.
if she doesn't have a high heart rate, then it isn't a
It's
good
not.
workout. So
It's not.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to
Mm-hmm.
trying to like get her to realize that that's not always an important part of training, but
Mm-hmm.
also don't want to discourage her from training hard because she
Right.
likes to go hard and she loves what she loves.
Mm-hmm.
With training for rim to rim, I put her on 2 days in the gym
Mm-hmm.
and then 2 days hiking.
Got it.
That's my original plan for her.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted 3 days because she doesn't feel like she's doing enough. So I
Okay.
gave her the 3 days, and now
Yep.
she's starting to hit that wall right at the fourth, fifth week, and
Yeah.
we have 16 weeks of training.
Okay. So what are you doing? What are you doing with that third day? right? Because you got what I consider to be really great coaching is giving your client exactly what they need. So, and sometimes you got to disguise it as what they want, right?
Yes.
So she wants to keep that third day, but you also understand the likelihood of her overtraining. What are you doing with that third day?
It's usually some sort of upper body core and hit
Mm-hmm.
workout,
Okay.
because by the end of hiking and the training that she's doing in the gym is a lot of lower body carry focused. So that
Mm-hmm.
way she's just used to being holding load and having things
Mm-hmm.
just to carry.
Yep.
So if she were to follow the week through, it would be the Friday would be her last session, and then she would
Mm-hmm.
have a hike the next day. So I'm not trying to overdo it, but a
Yeah.
quick little 30-minute upper body core hit routine usually gets her that high heart rate that she needs, and then can get
Mm-hmm.
her in and out the gym.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Yeah. It's tough. You know what I mean? Because clients have expectations of what good training, what a good workout is supposed to be, what it's supposed to look like, how it's supposed to feel. And, you know, when you look at it from our side of the fence, like so much of that, depending on what the goal is actually counterproductive.
That I have to
Right.
find myself like, people will ask what is the best thing, and so I have to find myself like, there's no best thing. Like, you're doing the best thing right now. You're doing something, and whether like
Mm-hmm.
whatever their goal is, we are working towards that. So like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think what's the most common one is just
It just depends, man.
it's so open.
You
Like,
know?
I get asked, yeah, that one of my least favorite questions is what's the best thing for me to be doing right now. It's like
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna have to break open the whole bottle of what you are and what you do already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So, you had brought up in the beginning when we started this conversation that you came into uh, training from a dark place. Uh, I want to go there with you um, because I think that has so much to do with the empathy that you bring to coaching. That is rare in this space. In my observation, your patience with people, I really feel like is a direct reflection of your own personal journey. And I'm curious how much of the lessons learned from that experience are you leveraging in the way that you coach and interact with clients now?
Man, I so much. I say almost all of that experience is, I wouldn't trade it for anything, I guess you could say. Um,
Yeah.
it taught me a lot about people, and like this Berkman that we went over, I'm good at adapting to language and being a chameleon. And so I just found myself within several different groups of people. And it didn't matter what group that I found myself in, I was a part of the group. And shoot, um, it's also taught me that just keep pushing. Like, it, I don't want to say it can't get worse, but if you're actively trying to make your life better with effort, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. And that whole experience was a roller coaster. Early high school, started, just smoking pot, doing dumb things, drinking. Probably by the time I was a junior, you could say full blown pothead or whatever you want to call it. In Washington, wasn't super looked down on, but within my class, it wasn't like, for whatever reason, the kids in my class did not like it. So like, I kind of became an outcast.
Mm-hmm.
then got expelled on the very last day of school. So I technically graduated and got expelled. So they handed me a diploma and said, you got to leave.
Okay.
It was the last 10 minutes, had something in my bag that I shouldn't have. Got kicked out of campus or kicked off campus, but I had met all the requirements. And so they're just like, hey, take this, can't come to graduation, have a nice life.
Oh,
And so
wow. Okay.
I never really saw any of my class after that. And so I just kind of dropped off the face of the planet, started doing my own thing, had several jobs, and then ended up living on a couch for a while, like, and then at a park, back and forth. And within that time, had a lot of time to myself. So like just was able to really figure out like what I should be, or what I am, what I should be about. And like the life that I was living wasn't the life that I wanted to lead. And it wasn't easy. And think like my parents at some point eventually took me back in for about a month. So there's a very short period where I was able to go back home, but from 18 to almost 20, I lived at random places, couches, parks. Roughly when I was 20, that's when I was able to walk on to a community college in North Seattle, Shoreline Community College, and I was able to get housing from that. And so that was how I was able to live the next 8-9 months. So I went to school, did that. Through that, became a raging alcoholic. And so that's where the drinking really took off, was from college baseball. Probably put on 25, 30 pounds within that year, but I held it. I could hide it. It's like my face looks bloated now. It looks bloated looking back at pictures. But at the time, it was so gradual. It didn't look bad until one day I have to go down to tie my shoe, and I can't bend over just because it's so uncomfortable, just moving and being. I end up not going back to school the next year to play baseball, and then kind of start to sink back into that lifestyle that I was beforehand, but I'm still now at my parents' house. And then it would have been October, November. Went out drinking with some friends, planned to do it light, ended up not doing it light, and had found myself some 20 miles across town, 2 pop tires, woke up on this 101-year-old lady's couch named Hazel. She had a breathing tube, all that. Said, you looked cold, I'm gonna bring you in. So I stayed the night at her house, found out that instead of being in Everett, I was in South Seattle. So I was 6 hours late to work. So I get called in the next day that I have to go into work. They gave me one option, they gave me the option to keep working, and if I ever have one more mistake, I'm done. Or I could just leave the job right there, like no harm, no foul. It's like I needed this job. If I didn't have the job, parents were gonna kick me out again. Things were just gonna spiral south.
Yeah.
I never got fired from that job. But about 2 weeks later, that's when I was still hanging out with friends, trying to make better decisions. So for whatever reason, psychedelics were a better decision. We're just hanging out in a basement watching some kung fu movie, and I have this sensation in my lower back that wasn't pain, but it felt like there was this expanding ball within just like the lumbar area. And I started stretching, moving around, and probably spent the next 3.5, 4 hours just stretching. I don't know what it looked like or if they were real stretches. It just felt good.
Yeah.
And so from that moment, I just felt the need to continuously be moving, or just do something more than I did the day before. That was basically the very first method that I started working with, which is just, if I did this the day before, I'm just going to do just a little bit more and just a little bit more. It's like if I did 20 bicep curls and ran a mile, then I'm going to do 40 bicep curls and run a mile and a half. And then next thing you know, I'm on the Stairmaster for 60 minutes a day. And I did that for probably 6.5 months straight.
No shit.
Like I had no idea what I was doing when I first got into the gym. I just knew that I had to sweat.
Yeah.
Find out that also now sweating doesn't really help you lose body fat. But that was my mindset going into it.
Yeah. And then so that was kind of the catalyst to essentially get your shit together.
Yep.
And move away from, an otherwise toxic lifestyle, right?
Basically, it goes down to that's very simple, what we talked about at the Leaders Forum, the environment. I just changed my environment with that, without realizing what I was doing. Whenever I had the thought of, I'm gonna go do this, I would pivot and take myself immediately to the gym. Even if I didn't want to go work out, I was just going to put myself into the gym. And that was a 15-minute, 20-minute drive for me to get there. So I had to make the effort to go to the gym whenever this happened. And it would be a Friday night. I'd go sit in the sauna and just remove myself from the possibility of being out there. And then started just making friends within the gym. And it slowly became I realized, I kind of like this stuff. I want to pursue this. And then realized, they offer degrees at the school where you can pursue exercise science and all these things. And so one thing led to another.
That's so crazy, man. When you think about just set and setting, and what jumps out at me in just the way you tell the story, it just so happened to be the gym, but when we talk about the gap, right? The stimulus and response, and trying to make the gap as big as possible so that you can make a different decision. And kind of what it sounds like your mindset was anything but that. And it just so happened to be the gym for you.
So there was always something in me telling me that being fit and working, I don't know, probably every dude's seen Arnold Schwarzenegger pumping iron. And I thought, even as a young kid, would walk around flexing biceps, and always thought that I would be big and strong, I guess you could say, but never would put the work in to be big and strong, just thinking that it would just happen one day. And then, just finding out that, you put yourself through a little bit of adversity, things can be way better.
Yeah.
The mood, your environment, the people that you're around, it's everything.
You're very energetically in tune, right? When did you pick up on that about yourself? Because we've had numerous conversations about, the existential stuff. You know what I mean?
I say it depends on I was probably the day that I was told I was adopted.
Okay.
So that's just when I became, I guess, aware that the reality that I knew wasn't the reality anymore. Parents have always been my parents. They always will be my parents. But they probably told me at 5 or 6 that I was adopted. So that we go to family reunions, and I would sit there and I'm not related to any of these people, but I have to love them like my family. And so I think that just started this process of becoming the chameleon, or figuring out how to fit into a group. Because I never once did my family make me not feel like I was a part of the group, but there was some sort of this isn't mine, that I knew at a young age. And then I think that just through going to school, and because through school I was more of I don't want to say class clown, because I don't think people thought it was funny, but I would just make an ass of myself. I think that was just a way of just trying to be myself or be my own, because I was always forced into this. And I was kind of always aware of what I was doing, even through middle school, high school, and even when I started going down the dark path, I always had a sense that I was going to get out of it.
Okay.
Even though like there was times where like it felt that things were over, I always knew that it wasn't the end.
Okay.
And so I've always just had this sense of, you could say it's like a sense of belief in yourself, or a sense of like maybe higher power, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But I am where I need to be when I need to be. And everything that I've done has led me to this point and has taught me things along the way. And I've learned that if I didn't learn that lesson then, it's going to come back in another way, and it's going to be just double trouble. And so it's better to learn it the first time. But yeah, I said kind of this sense of awareness for a long time at this point, 20 something years now.
Yeah.
Trying to put a real number on it.
Well, no, it's just cool because when you recognize that in somebody, and more importantly, when you recognize that they recognize it in themselves, it becomes a really, really powerful tool, you know. And again, it shows up day in and day out, and watching you interact with members and clients, and just everybody that you associate with, and from the outside looking in, it's just a really cool dynamic to observe, right? And it's one of your more defining character traits. Is you describe it as being a chameleon. I would say you're just highly adaptable, right?
Thank you.
You're comfortable in engaging with people on whatever level they're at, right? And that's a dynamic of patience that not one, I don't think you can fucking teach it, and two, not everybody possesses.
I say another weird, as you're saying this, reminds me, I think this skill's also cultivated through the partying phase, because like I said, it was one dimensional. I only played baseball. So getting into a group of people, I had nothing to talk about. And so I had to figure out what everyone else was talking about, and then catch on to like, oh, these dudes are talking about cars. These dudes are talking about shooting guns. I don't know any of that. So like I had to just sit there and learn. And I think that is the skill that I've just now, people start talking about something. I might not know anything, but I can figure out a question to ask, to open it up, to gain a little bit more knowledge.
Yeah. It's powerful, man. It's powerful. I'm happy to have you on our team. I think you bring a wealth of experience to the table that is extremely unique and shows up in the dynamic with which you coach. And it makes you powerful with your clients. That relatability, that empathy is a strength of yours. We profile everybody here, right? With that Berkman, and allow people to step into their flow and live in that space as consistently as possible. And when I watch you do your thing, it's so glaring, your passion, your excitement. And again, because you're walking both sides of that line simultaneously in academics and practical application. Like, I'm watching you, 20 years in my career, like, do that dance, where, well, the classroom says this, but this is what I'm experiencing, and I'm experiencing this, and then I'm learning that, and it's being reinforced or, invalidated, back that this ping pong match between your ears, and the way you apply it to training and coaching, dude. It's been super cool. And just watching you continue to evolve has been just one of the blessings of my career. So the next level community is blessed to have you. I'm excited to continue to work with you and watch you develop and grow and evolve as a coach. And dude, just thanks for taking the time today and letting everybody get to know who you are, where you come from, and how you bring all of that experience to the table, man.
Thank you so much for having me. And so this was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Just two coaches talking, man. It's all good. It's all good. Um, you know, for everybody out there in next level land, out there in the interweb, follow Joe at Barnett Training Systems on Instagram. Follow Next Level, and come see us at HQ if you need something in the digital space. We offer remote everything, and Joe's a resource for you. So, dude, thank you so much, and progress always. We'll do this again soon.
Thank you. Progress always.